just a tea. It's not something that it's appear to be. It's just green tea that seems yellow. So, welcome back. We will continue the reading of our book, Clear Thinking by Shane Parrish, The Art and Science of Making Better Decisions. So, last time we read chapter 2.1, Self Accountability. Today we will read the next chapter 2.2, Self Knowledge. Know thyself. Inspiration on the temple of Apollo at Delphi. I don't know what it means. Something interesting. I will search later. So we will read now. Self knowledge is about knowing your own strengths and weaknesses. You must know what you can do and what you cannot. Your powers and limitations, your strengths and vulnerabilities, what is in your control and what is not. You know what you know and what you don't know. And you know, moreover, that you have cognitive blind spots, that there are things you don't know, and you don't know them. What Donald Rumsfeld famously called unknown unknowns. If you want to better understand your level of self knowledge, ask yourself how many times a day you utter the phrase, I don't know. If you never say, I don't know, you are probably dismissing things that surprise you or explaining away outcomes instead of understanding them. Understanding what you do and don't know is the key. Understanding what you do and don't know is the key to playing games you can win. I witnessed a powerful display of self knowledge recently at a group dinner with a very successful friend a who has made a fortune in real estate. A savvy investor at the dinner pitched him on a company he was taking private. The idea was one of the most compelling I had heard in years. After hearing out the pitch, my friend paused for a second, took a sip of water, and said, I am not interested in investing. The entire table sat in silence, wondering what he had missed. Someone finally broke the silence by asking him why he was not. He was passing. I don't know anything about that space, he said. I like to stick to what I know. As we left the restaurant, the conversation continued. He admitted that the pitch sounded great. He trusted the person and investor investor would make a lot of money on the deal. They did. Then he told me the key to successful investing is to know what you know and stick to it. My friend knew real estate well, and he knew if he played in that space and was patient, he could not help but be successful. It's not the size of your knowledge, but how you use it. Knowing just what it is that you know is among the most practical skills you can have. The size of what you know is not nearly as important as having a sense of your knowledge's boundaries. At dinner one night, Charlie Munger elaborated on the same idea why real estate investor friend had put forth. He said, when you play games where other people have the aptitude and you don't, you are going to lose. You have to figure out where you have an edge and stick to it. It's not enough to know where you have an edge. You also have to know when you are operating outside of it. If you don't know which side of the line you are on, or that there even is a line at all, you are outside your boundaries. Self knowledge is not limited just to hard skills, though it's also about knowing when you are vulnerable to your defaults. The kinds of situations where circumstances do the thinking for you. Maybe you are prone to being overly emotional, to sadness, anger, or intrusive self defeating thoughts. Maybe you have a short temper when you are tired, or you become an orgy when you are hungry. Maybe you are actually sensitive to social pressure and the threat of the social scorn. Knowing about your strengths and weaknesses, your abilities and your limits of essential to counteracting your defaults. If you don't know your vulnerabilities, your defaults will exploit them to gain control of your circumstances. So, this was the short chapter of self knowledge. I read two examples from the Shane Parish. One is about his investor friend who have the knowledge of real estate, and he was in the meeting, and he was pitched an idea that with a great potential. Even he saw the potential, he did not invest in that company because he did not understand that space. So, according to him, the knowledge of your knowledge should be there to get succeed or making your chances to get succeed more. If we relate it to our lives, especially to my life, let's say I know I am not a well communicator when it comes to parties or the places where there is a high noise. It could be bar, it could be party, it could be any event where there is a loud noise. I am not able to speak properly or in a volume that other people will understand. I strain my throat and do a lot of things those I should not do, or I should not speak, not do, not speak. But when I'm in one-on-one sessions, like in cafes or park, even I'm talking with strangers, somehow I am able to talk with them properly, engage them, and somehow make a connection between us. So this is my skill. So if I want to make friends, I know where I should go. I should not go to bars or parties. I should go to events where possibility of one-on-one interaction is there, and also people can hear me properly what I am saying and how I am saying those. So self knowledge is very much important rather than acting on the defaults, act on according to our own knowledge. So we will start now chapter 2.4, self confidence. It seems it's gonna be very interesting topic. Let's read it. Self confidence is about trusting in your abilities and your value to others. You need self confidence to think independently and to stand firm in the face of social pressure, ego, inertia, or emotion. You need it to understand that not all results are immediate and to focus on doing what it takes to earn them eventually. Children develop self confidence when they learn simple skills like pulling up a zipper, trying their shoes, or riding a bike. Eventually, that self confidence evolves and propels them to develop more complex abilities as adults. For instance, writing software, painting murals, or cheering up a disheartened friend. Self confidence empowers resilience in the aftermath of a negative feedback and adaptability in the face of changing circumstances. You know what your abilities are and how they add value, whether other people appreciate them or not. If you have forged a healthy sense of self confidence, it will see you through whatever emerging challenges and difficulties come your way. Confidence versus ego. Self confidence is what empowers you to execute difficult decisions and develop self knowledge, while the ego tries to prevent you from acknowledging any deficiencies you may have. Self confidence gives you the strength of acknowledge those deficiencies. This is how you learn humility. Confidence without humility is generally the same thing as overconfidence, a weakness, not a strength. Confident people have the strength to admit weaknesses and vulnerabilities, to acknowledge that other people might be better at something than they are, and to ask when they need help. It's only human to have doubts about whether you are up to a given task. Even the most capable people have the doubts about this form from time to time. But those who have self confidence never give in to feelings of despair or worthlessness. That's just another ego trap. Instead, confident people stay focused on completing the task at hand, even if it involves relying on the help of others to do so. Every successful task only further serves to deepen your trust in yourself, deepen your trust in yourself, and that's how confidence is earned. Confidence also comes from how you talk to yourself. More dreams die from a lack of confidence than lack of competence. But while confidence is often a byproduct of our accomplishments, it is also comes from how you talk to yourself. That little voice in your head may whisper its doubts, but it should also remind you of the many hardships and challenges you have overcome in the past and fact that you preserved. No matter who you are, you have given that little voice many positive moments to speak of. You learned to walk despite failing down thousands of times. Maybe you failed at a test first, but then figured out what went wrong and nailed it the next time. Perhaps you were fired, but moved on and ended up in a better position as a result. Maybe your relationship ended, or your business failed, or you were scared the first time you put on skis. Whether it was whatever it was, you overcame it, moved past it, and you are stronger as a result. It's important to talk to yourself about the adversity you have faced because past hardship is where you get the confidence to face future hardship. When I took my youngest son cliff jumping, we faced a serious dilemma. After reaching the top and looking down at the 25-foot drop, he got scared and wanted to climb back down. That was not possible. However, because the climb down was far more dangerous than jump, one small error and we would have landed on the bed of sharp rocks. The more he looked down, the more nervous he became. I had to do something to help himself out of this situation. The first thing we did was to focus on our breathing. Your breath is powerful tool that helps you yourself down, that helps you calm your mind. We started taking a normal inhale and then immediately inhaling again with a smaller breath. It's the same way we naturally breathe when we are sobbing, and the results are similarly soothing. Only once we had relaxed our physical bodies could we change our inner dialogue. I asked him how he was talking to himself at the moment, and it was not good. He was beating himself up, telling himself how dumb it had been to climb up in the first place, how he should have known better, and how scared he was. This is the same way we all tend to talk to ourselves sometimes, or at least it is in my experience. The second thing we did was change the conversation he was having inside his head. We know how the words we say to other people impact how they feel, but we rarely think of how the words we say to ourselves impact us. I asked him to list off some of the things he had already done that he had feared before doing them. The question was barely out of my mouth when he started to tell me about snowboarding and the time we mistakenly ended up on a double black diamond and the first time he went wakeboarding. The list went on. There was no shortage of situations he had been in that had required courage. Once he realized he had done difficult things before for the first time, he went back to focusing on his breathing. Then he jumped. Within seconds, he emerged from the water, and I could see his huge smile as he climbed back up for round two. People who are confident are not afraid of facing reality because they know they can handle it. Confident people don't care what other people think about them, are not afraid of standing out, and are willing to risk looking like an idiot while they are trying something new. They have been beaten down and rebuilt themselves enough times to know they can do it again if they have to. Crucially, they also know that to outperform the crowd, you have to do things differently sometimes, and that hecklers and naysayers inevitably tend to follow. They take their feedback from reality, not popular opinion. The most important voice to listen is to the one that reminds you of all that you have accomplished in the past, and while you might not have done that particular thing before, you can figure it out. Confidence and honesty. Self confidence is also the strength of accept hard truths. We all have to deal with the world as it is, not as we want it to be. The quicker you stop denying inconvenient truths and start responding to difficult realities, the better. We all have something that we are denying right now because accepting it is hard and we want to avoid the pain. Maybe you are in a dead end job, or you are about to go bankrupt, or you are holding an investment that you have trouble admitting did not work out. The quicker you accept reality, though, the quicker you can deal with the implications, and the sooner you do that, the easier those implications are to manage. Most of the time, needing to wait for the right moment to do the hard things is just an excuse, a way to rationalize putting off what needs to be done. There is no perfect moment. There is only the desire to continue waiting for one. People with self confidence are honest about their own motivations, actions, and results. They recognize when the voice in their head might be ignoring reality. They also listen to the feedback the gives them instead of shopping around for other opinions. The internet makes it easy to find people who agree with us no matter what we believe. Want to deny the Holocaust? There's a group for that. Think vaccines cause autism. Many others do as well. Heck, we still have a flat earth society where the membership spans around the globe. You can quickly and easily be surrounded by the people who share the same delusions, delusions. That does not make them true. Reality is not popularity contest. Surrounding yourself with people who tell you you are right does not mean you are. And once you dive into the warm water of group acceptance, it's hard to get back out. The social default strikes again. The groups we surround ourselves with encourage us to think the problem is with the world and not with us. We think we are right and everyone else is wrong, denying reality at the expense of the energy and focus we need to adapt and improve. We do this because it feels more comfortable than accepting reality, even though it's only after we accept reality that we can attempt to change it. And we continue wondering deep down why we are not getting the results we want. We wonder why some people get better results than we do and what they are doing differently. I was talking I was taking a stroll one day with the CEO of a large public company. When we started discussing how he hired people for key roles, I asked if you could pick one trait that would predict how someone would turn out, what would it be? That's easy, he said. How willing they are to change their mind about what they think they know. The most vulnerable people, he continued, were not the ones with the best initial ideas. The most valuable people, he continued, were not the ones with the best initial ideas, but the ones with the ability to quickly change their minds. They were focused on outcome over ego. By contrast, he said the people most likely to fail were those obsessed with minutes detail that supported their point of view. They are too focused on proving they are not. They are too focused on proving they are right instead of being right, he said. As I mentioned previously in the chapter of self accountability, this is what I call the wrong side of the right. It's it it's what happens when otherwise smart people confuse the best outcome with the best outcome for them personally. In order to be right, you must be willing to change your mind. If you are not willing to change your mind, you are going to be wrong a lot. The people who frequently find themselves on the wrong side of right are people who cannot zoom in and out and see the problem from multiple angles. They got locked into one perspective, their own. When you cannot see a problem from multiple points of view, you have blind spots, and blind spots get you in trouble. Admitting you are wrong is not sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Admitting that someone has better explanation than you shows that you are adaptable. Facing reality takes courage. It takes courage to revise your ideas and rethink something you thought you knew. It takes courage to tell yourself something is not working. It takes courage to accept feedback that bruises your self image. The challenge of facing reality is ultimately the challenge of facing ourselves. We must acknowledge the things we cannot control and focus our effort to manage the things we can. Facing reality demands acknowledging our mistakes and failures, learning from them, and moving forward. The wrong side of right. Once in New York, after I had given a talk on making effective decisions, a woman in audience came up to me with a question. The event had run late and I really had to get on the airport, which I apologetically informed her. In response, she offered to have her driver takes me to the airport if she could pick my brain along the way. Nothing like a trusting Canadian to get in a car of a complete stranger in the New York. As as we got into the car, we started talking me about a very difficult problem she was wrestling with. She was one of the candidates to become the next CEO of her organization and felt like the problem she was facing would make or break her chances. She walked me through the details and told me her proposed solution. Although it sounded as though her idea would indeed solve the problem. It was complicated and full of execution risk, but there was an alternative, a solution that was simpler, lower cost, and carried less risk. It was objectively a better solution. The only problem was it was her rivals. As she detailed some of her thinking. She spent a lot of time and effort defending herself, trying to prove her solution was the better one. She only succeeded in making it clear that she knew her own solution was not the best. She was on the wrong side of right. She just did not want to admit it. Many people feel the same way. They think they will be worthless if they are not right. I myself used to feel the same way. Rather than let her figure out her mistake the hard way, I shared some of the harsh and expensive lesson I learned about the mindset and about being on the wrong side of right. I told her that for the longest time I thought if the best idea was not my idea, I would be nothing. I thought that no one would see me as valuable, that no one would see me as insightful, that I would not be contributing anything. I had my identity wrapped up in being right. I was not until I began running a business that I realized how wrong I had been. When everything is on your shoulders and cost of being wrong is high, I told her, you tend to focus on what's right instead of who's right. The more I would give, I had given up one. What is so basically? This is annoying me. The more I had, I don't know. I had, I would, I could. It's annoying me. I need to ask what it is. So the full form is I would, I had, I don't know, I would or I had. It's annoying me, and I think this is the fault of this writer. Not fault of this writer. My understanding is not good about this thing. Okay. It was until I began running a business that I realized how wrong I had been. When everything is on your shoulders, the cost of being wrong is high. I told her, you tend to focus on what's right instead of who's right. The more I had given up wanting to be right, the better the outcome I had. I did not care about getting the credit, I cared about getting the results. If you owned 100% of this company and could not sell it for 100 years, I asked her, which solution would you prefer? There was a long pause before she answered. I know what I need to do. She said, thank you. A few months later, my phone rang. It was her. You won't believe what happened, she said. She said, I got the CEO job thanks in part of your help. It was a tough pill to swallow, but I ended up supporting my rival's solution, and that's what ended up tipping the scales in my favor. When the board saw that I could put aside my ego and do what was best for the company, even if it meant supporting someone competing with me for the same role. They knew I was the right person. Self confidence is the strength to focus on what's right instead of who's right. It's the strength to face reality. It's the strength to admit mistakes and the strength to change your mind. Self confidence is what it takes to be on the right side of right. Outcome over ego. So, in this chapter, it was more about be confident, confidence, be confident in yourself, talk to yourself positively, don't bash yourself like I'm missing this and missing that, I don't have, I'm a loser or whatsoever. Don't say these things. These can reduce your morale and ultimately your actions or willingness to take actions. These will be reduced. And the example, another point was like you need to work to get outcome instead of being right. If you are right, stick to it. If somebody else is right, accept it and be on the right side of right, instead of right side of wrong. So that's what in short this chapter says. and we will talk and come back with the next chapter, that is basically strength in action. We will read it and we will try to comprehend what writer want to say and how we can implement that in our lives. So till then, bye bye.